What's good, y'all? This is your boy, your son, your friend, Frankee TJ, and welcome to Airing It All Out podcast, where transparency heals. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about believing in what it is that you create. Some of us are really talented, like extremely, extremely talented. Some of us have acquired these talents over time, and others, were fortunately born with these skills and talents. You have people like Whitney Houston or Michael Jackson. Some of these people have amazing skill sets, whether it's vocally, whether it's in their bodies. They have the ability to draw a people. They have the ability to draw attention to themselves. Or you have playwrights like such as Tyler Perry, or you have authors that are able to just release a book and it just sells like crazy because it's not always the person, it's the substance in what they bring. Or you have groups of, you have talented groups, singers, dancers, and then you have that one person who so happens to stand out because they just have that extra grace and ability to draw people, such as a Beyonce of Destiny's Child or a Justin Timberlake of NSYNC. Um, you have Diana Ross in the Supremes, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that was the name of her group. If I'm incorrect, I do apologize in advance. Nevertheless, today's topic again is about believing in what it is that you create. Um, because again, what you create is coming out of your own mind. It's your own concept, it's your own idea. And no one can do what it is that you're doing better than you can. Because guess what? The idea was conceived in your own brain, it came in your own head. So, no one, you can give something to someone and they still won't be able to um, grasp the vision entirely of what it is that you're seeing in your head. I usually call it God given vision, right? Because God has given us the ability to think, He's given us the ability to speak, to convey a message, whether we're talking, dancing, singing, writing, filming, doing photography. Um, whether we have a skill in the athletic arena, right? You have basketball players, football players, some people are extremely talented that they can do whatever it is that they want to do because they just have that ability to really perform and perform well, such as Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He was a football player, has degrees, but became a professional wrestler, then became an actor. And now he's probably one of the top, if not the top, paid actor in Hollywood. Um, Nevertheless, believing in what it is that you create. And again, this podcast is solely about being transparent. So I'm going to go ahead and get into a story that I this is a crazy story, but it's so inspiring as well, and I hope that it motivates and inspires you. So, nevertheless, years ago, I was asked to create a play, and in this play, it was a biblical play, and I was asked to put something together for a specific theme. The theme was surrounding, the birth of Christ. Um, and the things that happened during that time. um, and I was like, okay, bet. So when you read the story is it's older, it's ancient, right? But it's so powerful. And I had to, in my mind, I had an idea of modernizing the entire script. Of course, we don't take away or add to the scripture, but I wanted to perform a dramatic effect to it. So, nevertheless, I went ahead and wrote out the play. I added some paraphrasing to it to modernize, right? Modernize the story to bring it to today's um, society, to today's culture. And I'm like, this is going to be a great idea. I spent time, I spent energy. Of course, we had dances associated with it. So I was like, all right, this is going to be excellent. Again, this all of these ideas came to my head, and I wrote them down, and I began to just write out the play. Mary, Joseph, Jesus, John the Baptist. I had literally every single figure from the time of um, Mary being conceived with Christ by the Holy Spirit all the way up until the birth. Um, Everything was, included in this. So, and then the music took me a little while to find the music, but eventually I found the music, and the music was so beautifully orchestrated that it coincided so well with the play. Nevertheless, so I went ahead and presented it to those whom I had recruited to become part of the play. Um, we had we had to get, I think I had about 30, close to 40 people included in on this play, and um, it was overwhelming at one point, but at the same time, I was graced for this. So it wasn't like, it was overwhelming because of personality clashes, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But it was overwhelming because of the personality clashes. But as far as governing and managing and putting things into place and administering everything that needed to be administered, it was a breeze. I loved it. I love organizing events. I love organizing presentations. It's so much fun to me. Nevertheless, so I went ahead and typed it out. Um, it just felt good to create. I love creating, and I love being around creatives. But anyway, so it felt so good creating. So I went ahead and typed it out, put an amazing title to the play, um, and in my mind, I'm like, all right, we got to get props. We got to get um, uniforms. We got to make sure that this person does this. We got to make sure everyone's projecting. So in my mind, I am literally reenacting and acting. I would say acting out everyone's part. I was doing the men's part, I was doing the women's part, I was doing the children's part. I just had to act it out so that I saw what I wanted to see. That way, when it was time to teach, I was able to teach them what I wanted to see. I was able to teach them and convey the message about projection. That was one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to performing on stage, when you are acting, whether it's um, on a play or you're doing any type of studio acting. You have to be able to project, and some people don't really comprehend that. So I had to make sure that I knew what I wanted and knew how to convey that in the presentation. Into the rehearsal once it was time. Um, Nevertheless, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into the this part, that is the personality clashing. Um, Anytime you know that you're getting yourself around people, whether they're older, whether they are your equal in age, your peer, or younger, you're gonna always come into some type of conflict. You're gonna have opinions, right? Yikes. You're gonna have people who don't want to do it. They want to do it, but then part of them don't want to do it. Then you have people who are egotistical. You have people. It's just, or you have people who are very competitive. They want the leading role. It's so much that you have to contend with on that level. But thank God that He graced me to be able to combat those type of things. Nevertheless, um, I remember when I presented, so I went ahead and typed out everything, and I presented it to all of those whom I had recruited for the the play, and there was one individual. I asked everyone, I'm like, hey, do you like it? I am open for your criticisms. I'm open for your critiques. I don't even know if criticisms is a word, but I'm open for your critiques. I'm open to hear your opinion. What is your feedback on this? Go ahead and read through it. Let me know if you'd like me to change anything, all that. One thing I've learned about being a leader is that you have to be open to constructive criticism, especially, if it's coming from a good place. A lot of times people say things just to say it, but you'll know when someone is really trying to um, bring a better outcome to what it is that you're creating, especially people who marry the vision and understand the vision, but want to make it even greater. I love being around those kind of people, and I just love those kind of people in general. But nevertheless, so um, I presented it to everyone, and everyone said that they seemed to have liked it. Um, so I was like, okay, bet. So it made me happy, of course, because it's always nerve-wracking to present something new. It's like an artist presenting their new music to someone, hoping that they'd like it, or presenting a dance routine to someone, or presenting a new book, presenting food, like whatever it is that you're creative at. You always get a little nervous, thinking that it might be rejected, thinking that it may not be as good as it was in your mind, Nevertheless, so I'm saying nevertheless a lot. I'm gonna try to hone back on that. But anyway, um, so after doing that, presenting them the thing, everyone seemed to have liked it. So we had about two practices. So we had a weekly practice leading up until the date of presentation. So maybe 2 weeks before, I think we started practicing maybe 2 months before the event, and then maybe 2 weeks before the event, one of the young women told someone else. She said, "I think that this play is boring. I think this play is boring. It doesn't really have much substance. There's nothing great about it. Da 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 da." So one of the other young ladies that I had recruited, she came to me and told me, and I was like, "Well, why didn't you guys say anything from jump? Like I gave." That open door for you guys to tell me what I should change. How come you guys just held back and telling me? Um, and one of the girls was like, "Oh, I don't know." And then the one who said it, the one who actually said it was boring. She didn't have anything to say when I went and asked her, and I was just sitting there like, I don't know. I got to keep my eye on you, because if you don't like anything, why wouldn't you speak up? Why wouldn't you, say anything about it? I don't know. It kind of rubbed me a little off. I was just like, like if I was gonna fall off a cliff, would you have, saved me? Like I don't know. It just made me think. So anyway, um, or should I say like, hey, hey, yo, Frankie, there's a car speeding and it's about to hit you. Like, in other words, like, are you willing to keep me from falling in a pit? Or are you going to just let me fall in the pit? So I had to like really watch that, and it didn't sit right with me. But anyway, God bless her, right? But anyway, so at this point in time, it's already about 6 weeks into rehearsals. So I could not change anything. People already had their attire purchased. People had already learned the choreography, had already been studying the play and trying to gather, adults, teenagers, and children was hard enough because you had to deal with parents. There was so much that came into creating this play. And again, I loved every bit of it. The pressures, the frustrations. It was a joy to be around people who were creative and also who took direction. Um, so push come to shove, the time of the event's coming. So I'm nervous because now we have to present it in front of a people. We have to present it in front of parents. Parents want to see their children excel. They want to see their children shine. That's just a given. Parents love to see their children involved in community work. Da 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 da. Um, so my family's there, and then you just have a lot of people there, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, I just feel like I just like swallowed my heart. Like it's like my heart fell into my stomach. Like I was just like, oh, I'm so nervous. And then it's like I had to pee, but I couldn't pee, and then I had to use the bathroom. I couldn't do that. the other part, not the number one, number two. Like, it just, everything was just like overwhelming. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm sweating. My hands are, oh, I'm shaking. I'm so nervous about this. So then the time of the play came, and everyone did exceptionally well. It went so well. From the intro to the middle to the outros. I mean, one person forgot their lines, but guess what? She improved. She did amazing. She recovered. I was like, that's how you know you are good at what you do, when you know that you messed up, but you do it in such a way that people doesn't even realize that you messed up. Um, it went so well. Um, so I said all that to say that oftentimes people will have opinions. People will have negative things to say. People will try to downplay what it is that you have conceptualized in your own mind. And um, it can be disheartening. It can be discouraging because you're like, man, I just sat here for hours on hours creating this. And you're going to come and tell me that you don't like it when I gave you an opportunity to. Um, but anyway, so believe in what you create. Believe in your creative mind. We all have creative juices, right? We all have um, whatever our respective fields are. You have people like, let me think of it, like a Luther Vandross, and then you would compare him to a Freddie Jackson of his time or a Michael Jackson of his time. Though these artists came out around the same time and their professions are singers, they all sing differently. They all sound differently. So what I'm saying is, a lot of times you may not be as pleased with someone's product, right? With their presentation, with their project, as you would your own. But at the end of the day, still believe in what it is that you create. Um, and also support whatever someone else is creating. And remember that our creativity is different. Though it might be in the same category, our creativity will still be different. And one thing I learned from that time was that, take in the opinion, whether it's constructive or not, and learn from it, right? And some things you're able to kind of piece through to realize, okay, this was a good part of the opinion and this was the bad part of the opinion. So, of course, the bad part of the opinion, throw that thing away, right? But the good part, learn from it, accept it, and embrace it. And then also say, hey, you know what? Though you may not like it, you're still part of this, you know? And though you may not like it, we're still going to go out and do a fantastic job. So, nevertheless, at the end of the presentation, we got a standing ovation. Um, People were excited for the next play. People were completely um, amazed at how well the children did. We did a children's presentation. It was a dance sequence, and everyone loved it. It was just amazing. Everyone was in uniform. Though we had to get up early that morning. I think we had to get up we had to be at the event place at like 6 or 7 in the morning. It was so early. My voice still had a little grog in it. That's how early it was. But anyway, believe in what you create. And your creativity has the ability to make room for you, has the ability to bring income for you. Your creativity has the ability to inspire others, whether it's directly or indirectly. Um, there are artists today who draw from 50s and 60s artists. Your artistry is phenomenal. Even if you may not feel as though it was great at that time, there is someone watching, there's someone listening, there's someone that's paying attention. Um, so continue to create. Don't ever sleep on your creativity, because your creativity makes room for you. Your creativity broadens your, what's the word I'm looking for? Broadens your territory. Your creativity is what makes you you. So believe in you and believe in what it is that you create. Um, so from that day, I realized Let me continue to believe in what I create despite the naysayers, despite someone not necessarily liking your product. And guess what? You won't be able to please everybody. But remember, whatever it is that you put out is what you created and is what you put out. And it will inspire someone somewhere. And remember, I'm going to say this last thing. Some people are called to masses. Some people are called locally. Some people are called regionally. Some people are called internationally, right? So, whatever your grace is, it's going to be that. Never ever compare your creativity and your audience to someone else's. Because guess what? We all have different, what's the word I'm looking for? We all have different graces, we all have different measures. And what it is that we are measured for is who we will reach. So don't ever feel as though your creativity and who you are is less than because you're not operating in such a larger arena as other people, right? So anyway, believe in what it is that you create. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope that it inspired you, hope that it motivated you, hope that it increased your sense of creativity, and I hope again that it made you rethink writing that book, that it made you rethink acting, that it made you rethink speaking, dancing, and singing. Hope that it helped you also get back into that cooking or launching a business, whatever. We are all creative people. We are all creative people, and we are all created to create for someone else. Thank you so much.